What I can do in this life? I can box. I'm just undisputed.
And new undisputed world heavyweight champion of the world.
Sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I like it.
First of all, congratulations on your return after surgery. How are you feeling physically and emotionally?
Thank you. I missed training so much. I'm feeling much more better than I felt myself month before, 2 months before. And this training camp made me more confident about my health. I feel good. I can work 10 rounds and be okay. We're in Kyrgyzstan on the mountain, close to the lake. It calls Isikul. Why we choose it? Because every year we're choosing some place where we can go on 1,500 and more above the sea level. And when you are training in such places, you are gaining your endurance. It helps a lot.
Еще на камеру сейчас искупался, вообще бы было бы шикарно, парни. Мухаммад, а? Давай? Погнали на пир.
Ага, давай.
Нормально, там вид красивый.
My брат, you left me.
Давай, братиш, мы тебя будем
No
помнить.
problem. Easy, easy. Лапа.
Легко, легко.
Легко, легко. Муха, муха, муха.
Inside the intense camp, unified champion Dmitry Bivol is sharpening every detail of his game like a man preparing for war. In his newly built gym near Isikul Lake, Dmitry Bivol is pushing himself harder than ever after recovering from surgery.
Слушай, ты так искупался, такое ощущение, что даже вода как будто теплая. Другой раз как. Ты на звездных не похож.
Я? Не, ты снять шапку тогда.
Нет, да. Надо пробежать.
Konstantin Nekrasov, Bivol's performance and recovery specialist, describes the warm-up as a Webasto system, a remote start that powers Bivol's energy for the entire day.
Разминка, так же как и заминка, основа. Нужно мышцу погреть, нужно ее протянуть, ее нужно промять, чтобы привлечь кровоток внутрь сустава. И тогда сустав, как двигатель у автомобиля, начинает работать на подогреве. Поэтому разминка — это как вибаста в двигателе, как автозапуск. Без нее рвать вперед нет смысла.
Afterwards, Taylor Ramsdell, head of strength and conditioning, joins him for additional stretching work, and as the undisputed champion wraps his hands, Gennady Mashianov, head coach and strategist, steps in.
This is the start. You too. This is the start. Time. Now I fly.
Приготовились. Время, поехали. Каната, теперь.
And And this time, as Bivol puts on the gloves, the energy becomes unmistakable. He starts punching with more power to show his grit and sharpness ahead of his upcoming opponent, Michael Eifert. But he is also facing outside pressure, as David Benavidez is challenging Bivol and others who witnessed the sparring to confirm how he was hurt, insisting that he is not making it up.
You know, and a lot of people like to say that, you know, oh, well, you know, it's not the same thing in the fight. I like to say that it is the same thing. If you could touch somebody in the sparring, you could touch them in the fight. You know what I mean? And Bivol is a great fighter, but like I said, every time I get in there with a great fighter, it puts me to a different mindset because I know, you know, these fighters are very dangerous. So when I was sparring with Bivol, I sparred him a lot, you know, and you could go ask him, whoever his people are. I'm not no liar. You know, I heard him the last time we sparred.
Adding more fuel to the Benavidez claims, a recent revelation from the Joe Rogan podcast comes from Peter Berg, who tells Joe Rogan that Bivol dropped Benavidez with a jab during their sparring session.
Probably the greatest light heavyweight fight of all time. Incredible.
Bivol trains in our gym, by the way.
Does he really?
Churchill Boxing. The hardest punch I've ever seen anyone throw in my life was in our gym. David Benavidez was sparring Bivol.
Whoa.
And David Benavidez is a great fighter, but Bivol caught him and dropped him with the jab in sparring.
Besides Benavidez, Bivol is also being called out by Jai Opetaia, who insists he is open to fighting Dmitry Bivol at cruiserweight. For Opetaia, this fight represents a major step to elevate his legacy, and he believes Bivol cannot walk away if the opportunity is officially offered. He makes it clear that this is the kind of challenge that defines careers, and he is ready to test himself against the unified champion at any time.
You just mentioned Bivol. There's talk about maybe you and Bivol fighting at some point. What do you make of that?
Man, if it happens, it happens. You know, I'm happy to take that fight for sure. You know, he's a great, respectable fighter, and I feel like both our styles, we'd have a fight to remember, and they're the type of fights that I'd like to be a part of.
At this point, Roy Jones Jr. and Andre Ward are in a strong back-and-forth debate. Jones insists that Jai Opetaia still needs a signature win to truly prove himself at the elite level, while Ward argues that Opetaia is already clearing out the cruiserweight division despite the lack of big names around him. Jones brings up comparisons with David Benavidez, questioning how the resumes stack up, but Ward disagrees and says Opetaia has already demonstrated his class inside the ring. Ward also implies that Jones backing Benavidez over Usyk is influenced more by reputation than actual performance.
He's not the name as an Usyk, not as big money.
So who's he beat?
We gonna do that
who's he really beat?
Day. He's been at the weight class, at that cruiserweight weight class. You know, it's not a lot of big names. It's not a lot of big names at that cruiserweight weight class. Am I making that up? Has it historically been big names at the cruiserweight weight class?
No, that's why I skipped it.
Right. So I'm just saying, I can't say that a man that's won a title, defended his title, as long as he had, I can't say that he hasn't proven himself. I'm not gonna say that. But the namesake is different.
Well,
yeah, I understand.
Been around as long as.
Yeah, okay.
But Andre Ward does agree on one point, that David Benavidez has already built a strong name for himself in the boxing world, which is exactly what Roy Jones Jr. keeps emphasizing. Jones believes proving greatness is not only about fighting elite opponents, but also about achieving global recognition like Benavidez has done. Ward adds that for Jai Opetaia, the focus should be on expanding his visibility by taking on more challenges and raising his profile. He also acknowledges that a Benavidez versus Usyk matchup would be a major statement fight, and he would support it if it happens.
So I'm with that. I like that decision. I believe that's going to be the decision that's on the table. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens next. But that's a play right there. That is the play right there.
Prove yourself. And when I say prove yourself, the world don't know you like that yet. That's what
I respect
prove yourself. I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm not saying he's not good enough to do it. The world don't know him like that yet. So he hasn't proven himself where the world knows him. The world knows Benavidez. The world knows who Usyk is. A lot of people in boxing, because the cruiserweight division has always been kind of lackluster as far as names go, they don't know who the cruiserweight champions are. Yeah, I only know Patai and I knew Ramirez, but I don't know the other cruiserweight champs. And I am in boxing. So if you don't have a name like that, then you're not really pooping.
I respect it.
Addressing Benavidez, Andre Ward believes the ducking claims made against Canelo are not valid. In his view, Canelo has made the smartest decision by avoiding Benavidez purely because stylistically it is a bad matchup for him. Ward understands that after Benavidez' win over Ramirez, calling out Canelo was his way of expressing frustration after not getting the fight. However, when it comes to ducking accusations, Ward suggests that it does not fit the profile or career behavior of a fighter like Canelo.
Now, if you call that a duck, you call that being scared, you know, that's your business. Canelo Alvarez was in the building supporting his stablemate, Jaime Munguia, and I guess Benavidez just had to do it. He had to mention Canelo. He feels a way that Canelo hasn't fought him throughout the years. He's been calling for Canelo for many, many years. It's hard to say that a man who's put in as many professional rounds as Canelo Alvarez is scared of another man. But I do think that Canelo Alvarez has made a very conscious decision throughout the years to avoid Benavidez from a stylistic standpoint. Now, if you call that a duck, you call that being scared, you know, that's your business. But strategically, he made that business decision to say, I don't need to be in a ring with this dude. And Benavidez feels a certain type of way about that. So I think he just had to get that off his chest after putting on a performance that he just put on with Ramirez.
The question right now is what happens next, and Roy Jones Jr. agrees with Ward on the same stance. He believes that whatever the future holds for Bivol and Benavidez, a fight between Canelo and Benavidez would be a major mismatch and should not take place. In his view, the style differences are too significant and could create an uneven contest. Both analysts suggest that while the boxing landscape is full of exciting options, this particular matchup does not make sense competitively at this stage.
But that's not a fight that's gonna happen.
No, it's not. It shouldn't happen.
Especially with Benavidez going up in weight. But the question is what is gonna happen?
As the attention moves toward a potential clash between Bivol and Benavidez, Tim Bradley offers a blunt reality check for Benavidez supporters. He argues that Dmitry Bivol's style creates a difficult matchup advantage over David Benavidez. Bradley points to Bivol's sharp footwork and high ring IQ, saying both would cause serious issues across the fight. Although he expects a competitive contest, he ultimately believes Bivol's technical control is designed to shut down aggressive fighters like Benavidez, giving him the clear edge if they meet.
Bivol, if he fights Bivol, Bivol has the perfect style to beat him. Oh, I'm sorry to tell y'all, man. For real. Y'all come here for the real. Hey, I like me some David Benavidez. I do. I can't wait till we fight again. But Bivol is a recipe for disaster. Now, would it be a fight? Hell yeah. It'll be a fight. David Benavidez, he don't go nowhere easy. Hell no. But when you got good feet that matches with this, right? And you understand the sweet science.
Amid all the discussion stands Artur Beterbiev, still waiting for his long-anticipated trilogy as Dmitry Bivol focuses on Michael Eifert. This has sparked debate over whether Bivol is avoiding the rubber match or simply using Eifert as a tune-up before a possible Benavidez showdown. Shakur Stevenson says Beterbiev fully deserves the trilogy, but also admits a fight between Bivol and Benavidez would be highly entertaining. He slightly favors Bivol, while Tim Bradley cautions that Benavidez's pressure could still make it a difficult night for him.
Do you want to see a trilogy, or would you rather just see the Benavidez?
I'd rather see the Benavidez. I mean, Beterbiev deserve a trilogy technically, because of the first fight. I thought Bivol won the first fight too.
Yeah, I did too.
But me, I think that Benavidez and Bivol is another fight that is one of the biggest and best fights in the sport of boxing. I don't know if it's the biggest, but one of the best as far as like competitive wise.
Who you got in there? That's a hard fight. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm leaning towards Bivol, But I know like it would be tough with Benavidez with his pressure.
Teofimo Lopez echoes a similar view, giving a blunt breakdown of the matchup and saying Dmitry Bivol would be a very difficult puzzle for David Benavidez to solve. Lopez highlights Bivol's discipline, timing, and ring control, calling them some of the hardest traits to deal with in boxing today. While he respects Benavidez's pressure and punching power, he believes those weapons could be slowly neutralized as the fight progresses, ultimately tipping the balance in favor of Bivol if they ever meet in the ring.
Benavidez' performance, man, is the talk of the week.
It was great, man. He did his thing. It was tailor-made. It was perfect, and he did his part, man. I think I would like the only person that could probably challenge him would be Bivol.
Who's it, bro? I saw him spar. It was very competitive years ago with Big Gloves and Edgar. Yeah, but David's in a new place right now.
I get it. I get it.
Is he in a tough place because he's at cruiserweight, and then if he drops back down to 175, or the fight with Usyk is a heavyweight, then he's in a hard place. Well, how should he maneuver that? Like,
if he's cruiserweight, then they have a new weight class, a bridgerweight, or is that only on WBC side? Yeah. Only WBC?
Yeah, that's an option.
You know what I mean? And he's basically WBC's world champion, so they could probably round him there too. So many avenues for him.
On the other hand, David Benavidez remains highly confident, saying he can defeat not only Dmitry Bivol, but also Artur Beterbiev. He insists that Bivol is his first priority target, but if a fight with Beterbiev comes his way, he is more than ready to step in without hesitation. Benavidez firmly believes he has the tools to overcome both champions and sees no reason why he cannot beat them in back-to-back challenges inside the ring.
Which one is more of the fight?
I know Dmitry Bivol more than Beterbiev, but I think Dmitry Bivol just put the game plan out how to beat Beterbiev. But both of them, I have to be at the top of my game. Training camp has to be the hardest training camp I've ever been through to win those fights. Both of them. A more like a barn burner fight would be me and Beterbiev. Fights like that, people that got a lot of power, you gotta use movement. So I think that would show a different aspect in my game. But I'm 100% confident I beat both those guys. It's not gonna be easy at all, but this is what we're here for.
The future of David Benavidez remains widely debated, with Sean Porter stepping in and stressing that he must choose his weight class wisely going forward. Porter also highlights Jai Opetaia as an ideal opponent for him to face first. He further suggests that Dmitry Bivol would actually have a harder time against Benavidez than he did against Artur Beterbiev. At the same time, the ongoing triangle between Beterbiev and Bivol continues to dominate discussions, leaving the entire division in a state of uncertainty.
At that weight class, I personally want to see the fight against Opetaia. I personally want to see the fight against Bivol. Bivol, you're still around. And since you're still around, not that we're feeding you to the wolves, but this guy I think is young, vibrant, and probably would be, in a lot of ways, a tougher fight than Benavidez, or I'm sorry, than
Of course. Remember, I've been saying that. People, I'm good on the trilogy, man. Let Benavidez get his shot.
Focusing on a potential Benavidez versus Bivol matchup, Sean Porter emphasizes that this fight is even more exciting and appealing than Bivol's expected trilogy with Artur Beterbiev. Porter describes Beterbiev as a straightforward fighter who is easier to read and target. In contrast, he believes Benavidez and Bivol present a far more dynamic challenge, with both men capable of hurting each other through skill, timing, and pressure. He argues that this mutual threat is what makes their clash the most intriguing fight in the division.
With Beterbiev, he's not complicated. He's gonna be right there to hit and be hit, And like we saw with Bivol, it's up to Bivol to make the right moves, not be in the wrong spots at the right time. But with this fight with Benavidez, to me, there's just so much more that both these guys can do against one another that it makes it a better fight than the trilogy match with Beterbiev.
In all of this, David Benavidez emerges as the fighter working relentlessly to cement his legacy, calling his path similar to Evander Holyfield. Showbiz the Adult highlights how Benavidez's habit of calling out opponents and chasing matchups mirrors that same aggressive mindset. He also explains that he prefers a Bivol versus Benavidez clash more than a Canelo fight. He further shares insights on Benavidez's urgency to break down a fighter who once defeated Canelo and prove himself at the highest level.
David Benavidez versus Bivol is almost as exciting for me as Canelo versus David Benavidez. I'm not gonna lie. The reason why I like it is I always liked what Evander Holyfield did when it came to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson fight Alex Stewart, I'ma fight Alex Stewart. Mike Tyson fight Buster Douglas, I'ma fight Buster Douglas. You can't beat Bivol, I whoop his ass. Not only am I showing that I beat Canelo, but I'm also showing that my legacy is important. I'm greater than Canelo. I just love that attitude.
And that is where the entire boxing world stands right now, split between legacy, style, and unanswered questions. Benavidez is pushing for the biggest names, Bivol is focused on control and dominance, while every expert seems divided on what the future truly holds for this division. One thing is clear though, every possible matchup carries serious consequences and could reshape the sport in a major way. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments on who you believe comes out on top.